Bon appetit, Squiddy! You've ruined my morning! You've ruined my lunch! And you're ruining my...
Okay, class, it's time for our behind the wheel lesson.
Okay, guys, I am probably the last editor on this platform who should talk about a person's editing style. Yes, I'm not going to stand here and pretend like I pump out masterpieces. To criticize myself for a bit, most of my videos range from mid to straight ass, editing stale, the frame quality varies, my thumbnails are an acid trip, and some of the audio mixing sounds like I'm partially deaf, I know. So, please, do not misinterpret this. I am by no means someone who would ever tear down a creator for the way they edit. Everyone has a different style. Some people edit more simpler, some with more effects, transitions, etc. And there really isn't a better or worse when it comes to editing. I view AMV as an art form, where people show their capabilities of making videos. And I believe that everyone can improve the way they personally edit. However, my issue with Conan's content, besides all the stolen stuff, is how it's barely edited, to the point you can barely classify it as an edit. And that wouldn't be so bad. Everyone starts off not so greatly after all, if there's at least some improvement made. With Conan, I genuinely get the feeling they've never even planned on improving their editing in the first place, and just expected themselves gaining subs and recognition from other editors alone by joining their MEPs, giving them stolen parts as if they were their own, and getting away with it all by deleting the videos, comments, and parts they got called out on. That's what I think. Now, they've mostly stopped uploading edits. It doesn't make them subscribers anymore. So now they entirely abandon the art form of editing and only post short clips of trailers now. Cause, let's be real, they've never cared about AMVs, MEPs, and their community. They just wanted to be part of it without even trying. And again, I'm not trying to make fun of people who aren't experienced in editing or who can't afford the highest quality softwares. In fact, my editing softwares are, rather on the simpler side. I don't do any monthly payments or anything, and I just use whatever I found on the App Store that it doesn't take away too much of my phone storage, because I don't have that much to begin with. But Conan's videos might have looked good back in the early 2000s. Even raw editing nowadays has gotten more of higher quality over the years, mainly because editing softwares nowadays all have an option to go at least 720p 60 or even above. There's no excuse for Conan's videos to look this old. Not to shame older AMVs, heck, most of my favorite AMVs are pretty old by now. And raw editing, as it was in the early 2010s, is getting almost nostalgic in a way. It does have its charm. Conan's videos just can't bring that. They just put the video into Filmora, slapped some music over it, and called it an AMV. That's not how you edit. There isn't really a style here. Non-editors can do that. And again, this isn't me trying to discourage Conan from improving on editing, but I think that videos rushed together this lazily deserve at least a little bit of criticism. 1. There are videos of tutorials on how to edit in different styles here on YouTube. Don't be afraid to get yourself some inspiration. 2. Get a new editor. No, seriously. 3. You don't need to restrict yourself to MEP parts only, as it of course can be stressful with keeping up with each deadline. You can do more AMVs, like you can start with short ones, and maybe as you improve your videos, they can get longer. But again, all of that is up to you. I don't get to say how people manage their channel. I agree that I was being critically harsh during this section, but you can't improve without critique. And not everyone is going to put it nicely for you. Not that you necessarily cared about staying humble either. I'm sorry in advance if I'll get a little heated up in this section. I'll try to keep it constructive. Still, I've said that I don't know Conan personally, so I only really wanted to harshly critique their online personas and not judge them as an individual. I have to break this rule to a certain extent, because in this section I'll be responding and calling out their community posts. Conan is officially on their villain org. That's right, he's trying to silence the haters. Look, guys, there's one thing to act self-entitled about. What part be given to you in a random MEP, and or to complain about constructive criticism. Then, to actively trying to push people who rightfully criticized you into silence with what I and other people read as violent threats. And I know what you'll all be thinking. Can this even be taken seriously though? No. Well, I personally don't, obviously. But putting my thoughts aside for a bit, my point is, these posts are not okay, no matter how seriously they are to be taken. It goes without saying. Conan in that aspect kinda reminds me of the user Madeline Hatter. My sister Flammy did 2 videos on her, who also commented in the past on my videos before, then never commented again, then randomly started beefing with everyone they've supported. They both use their community tab daily to post hit pieces on creators they've fallen out with, and have multiple old accounts they're using to convince people they're someone else. Only difference being that one can type in English and the other doesn't. Ship a real adult with a real minor. Or post actual softcore on their community tab. Editing me here. As of the state of 2025, Madeline's channel has been nuked. But I have no idea if that also applies to all her old accounts, so if you see any of these, you should definitely block. How hard can it even be to not overshare your personal preferences with your audience consisting of mostly minors? You cannot tell me it's that hard, come on. Both really be using the community tabs for rants, and rants only, which they can do by the way, it's their tab, but you haven't uploaded a single video since forever, cause you were busy wishing people the worst. If I were sub to either one of them, I'd be very off-put by that. Oh, and they both can take criticism for shit. And I myself have been guilty when it comes to that in the past. I know it's sometimes difficult to receive critique, especially when it's harsh, so it's really no shade when I say this. But I think at the end of the day, it's important to reflect and to agree not to repeat past mistakes. It's a lesson I'm grateful to be learning myself, and I can just encourage that, really. There's absolutely nothing wrong with admitting wrongdoings and apologizing. I'm being so serious. And for Maddie, I think this user is a little too far gone. But I hope Conan, in 2 to 3 years or so, we can all just look back at this very situation and think, yeah, all of this drama could have been avoided easily, and laugh about it. Anyways, that has been the type of behavior Conan's been showing towards other creators, every time the smallest things don't go their way. Yet, when it comes to getting into MEPs, suddenly they're being nice to the host, until they get called out of course. Then, that facade seemingly disappears, see? And this is why people don't want you to be part of the MEPs no more. And not because MK Fizzy randomly decided to start a smear campaign against you, as your now deleted post indirectly implied. The fact that this seemingly unapologetic behavior of yours has been tolerated for so long still amazes me. The fact you've been featured in several MVPs until last January just shows that our community, including my very self, have been just a bit too kind, I think. Just so that you know, Alina didn't go after you, trying to get you cancelled after you stole from her back then. It was after we all decided to inform everyone about you. It may not sound like much of a difference to you, but it is. Their posts are hard to read, not cause the grammar mind you, but because you just really sit there and go, dude, you had so many chances to just cut the bullshit and actually build an audience. Nobody was really on your ass until you decided to repeat your actions, multiple times I may add, till everyone you've worked with got eventually sick of you, okay? Editing me here, so Conan has officially left their villain arc. They are now in their victim era. Black profile picture and banner. That's how you know it's serious. Okay, so I'm not trying to be rude when I say this, but why do so many people feel the need to black out their profile picture when wanting to put their social media accounts down. Not only Conan, just in general. I see many people do this, and I don't really get it. I guess it's to make your channel less seen, I guess, which doesn't make sense. If I didn't want to be seen, I'd rather delete my channel than change my profile picture. Or it's signalizing your account is inactive, but you know, you could just put this channel's discontinued or something in the description and leave the banner and profile pic. And why do people switch it to be pitch black? Why not white? Can anyone enlighten me? Sorry for the attention. What I actually wanted to say is, Conan really wants us to feel bad that he quitted 2 of his channels, while still uploading stolen Precure AMVs as per usual on their other channels. Editing me here. Something I've also noticed is that they have uploaded these videos of these random people, like real people, and you just kinda sit there and question, does Conan have permission from these people to re-upload them on their channel? I don't think it's them. I think it's just random videos taken from other people, just like their AMVs for their MEP parts. But I think that's even worse because, you know, it's uncensored faces of just random people and we don't know who they are. It's very weird. DSM, Rouge Project Red Fire Official, is another one of their channels they try to disguise as a legit account by linking them as a source of inspiration, as they usually link actual people there. But here we have another sock puppet. Just to make sure, I finally listed every account of theirs that's still active, but it's hard to keep up. Before I wrap up the video, unfortunately I think they haven't really changed. I still believe they can, but they still sometimes steal, not as often as they used to be completely fair. But the fact they've continued with what they were doing the whole time, even after the countless of callouts, made many people, including myself, side-eye their numerous apologies in the first place. And while I think that apologizing is important, following actions speak even more than words can. They still spread Precure fake news, like this another fake leak they did for Hirogawa Sky Precure. They still keep mentioning Meats-chan. They have stopped talking about Alina and MK Fizzy, which is fair to mention. I know I sounded very cold throughout this entire section, and I'm sorry if this was off-putting for some. I tried to be as empathetic as I possibly could have been. But at some point, you can't even come through a person just being upfront, even if it's harsh. And trust me, after this I'm practically done with being like openly negative with a single individual online. I didn't make this channel to spread hate, and I'm once again repeating to not harass Conan, or search for them, and or any of the backup channels. I know this sounds overly cliche, but I know the effects of being cyberbullied when I was still a minor myself, and how I unfortunately replicated said behavior in the past and lashed out at other people under the stress it caused me then. Something I can only talk about now that I reflected on it and hope to not repeat again. This video was not meant to bully anyone, so please don't harass Conan. I thank you all for making it till the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed, and if you'll excuse me, I've had enough internet for today.